All right, here we go. So today we're talking about economics. What is economics? Did anybody have to take it in high school? Who took it in high school? All right, keep your hands up. Who in here had a football coach teach economics? Read, me too, man. My, for some reason, it was like always the football coaches. How many of you learned a lot in economics? Good for you guys. All right, I don't know what it is. There's some like tradition for some reason here where the football coaches get, stuck teaching the economics course, which is really sad because it's such an important field to for everyone to kind of to learn about and grasp the way that society works here and across the world. But hopefully, we're going to get all of you caught up if you didn't have that great economics teacher. Like Reed and I probably. We watched The Temptations a lot in my economics class. That's what we did. I'm not even lying. I watched it probably the movie, probably 10 times in that class. So I really had to catch up in college because I didn't have that foundation. Today, we're just going to talk about what is economics in general. And then we're going to look at it from, again, that macro view of what does it mean here in the College of Business. All right. What will you study? What are you thinking about? Who are your professors? What classes are you going to be required to take? What are your career options? That's the things that we're going to look at today. Again, this is from the College of Business perspective. So Wednesday, we'll have a guest speaker from the field. And then later on in the semester, we're actually going to break down the subject material. So we'll kind of do another breakdown a little bit later in the semester. So what is economics? Economics is the study of human action, providing the tools necessary to think more clearly about complicated business problems, market activity, and my favorite, contemporary social issues. So economics is essentially making you think about the unintended consequences. You're going to hear that a lot in economics. If the government passes this piece of legislation that's going to require automobile manufacturers to lower the CO2 emissions from their vehicles and their fleet, what are the unintended consequences? All right, you can't just say, hey, we're going to have this action and it's all wonderful and everybody's like, yeah. Guess what? There's always unintended consequences. And economics is really great about getting you to think about, well, why? What's that going to affect? What's the other impact? How is that going to affect me here in Alabama driving my big diesel truck? These are things that we want to do in economics, and it makes it so fun and so fascinating. Anybody here have an economics class right now? Okay, a couple. I really enjoyed those. I'm going to say this quite a bit, but I never felt as smart as when I was taking an economics class because they'll bring in current events and talk to you about what's going on in the world, over in, Dubai, and they'll relate it to me here in Jacksonville, Alabama. And I was like, oh my gosh, I see how that has an impact on my everyday life. I would have never realized that. Again, it's this way of thinking and critically analyzing different scenarios. Okay, let's keep going. So why would you want to study economics? Who would want to study economics? Well, it's a great field for everybody. It is considered, now it's got some like ideal, it's like the ideal starter pack if you want one of these career fields, especially if you're looking to go into an MBA program or even law school. It's also a great undergrad major for these two ambitions in life. However, they work well in several of these other fields. And pretty much you can do anything in economics. Again, you're learning the way to think, to reason, to challenge different thoughts. So it's going to work well no matter what business aspect you go in. But in particular, investment banking, a high number of econ grads, financial services, international business, media, teaching and research. It's also one of those foundations. If you know you want to be into or go into academia, teach at a college level, economics is a sound background for that choice, that career field. Public administration, if you want to go into, serve in your county, your city, your state, political aspirations, economics is a sound foundation. Bless you. All right, entrepreneurship, law, again, it's one of the most common undergrad degrees if you're looking to go into law school. And we're going to kind of break that down in just a minute too. But it's a great basis. It's a solid foundation for any person that's interested going into business in some dimension. All right, so now the question is economics right for me? How do we know if it's right for me? I'm gonna read this and then we'll kind of break it down. So first off, it says it's going to attract analytical students. It can be heavy in math sometimes. So if you have that inclination, maybe think about it. Again, it attracts analytical students who are interested in learning how human beings interact in a myriad of social settings and how these interactions and government policies, a lot of government policies, respond to these interactions, how they affect our daily lives. They're interested, students interested in learning about product and financial markets, government policy, monetary policy, sports, healthcare, data analytics. And again, that's a field that we talked about. We talked about it when we talked about finance. Data analytics, that's a huge, huge field. It also comes into play with economics. If you're interested in that, economics can serve as a great background for those reasons. So we have anybody here in sports, sports marketing or sports management by chance? A lot of those individuals, those students who are majoring in that, and then also the careers, they're heavy in analytics. Anybody in here seen Moneyball? I think the analytics is crazy. It's a huge part of sports. And if you have those skills, great. Economics is going to help you build those as well. Government policy, again, any type of political ambitions, economics is going to be a solid foundation. Law school, graduate school, if you want to go into higher ed teaching, it's great for those as well. All right, here's the one unique thing I will say about economics. This is the only time we have this. Economics is a specialty. All of you are going to be majoring in business. All right, you're either going to be majoring in, again, one of the five: finance, economics, accounting, management, or marketing. Those are all called BS degrees. Those are accredited by the AACSB, which puts your degree in that top 5%. All right, so that's the BS. You're all getting a BS. However, with this one exception in economics, you can choose to do a BA. It's called a Bachelor of Art. Why would you do it? Who would do that? The BS is what we're going to look at today in just a minute. I'm going to go over and tell you all the classes that you have to take. You have to have all those gen ed courses. You have to have that business core. And then you're going to have those major courses that we're going to review together today. So just like we've been doing, those gen ed, all the business core that you're all going to have that foundation of, and then you have your economics major courses that you have to take. That's for a BS. There's another option with that BA. And it's a lot more, it's less prescriptive, meaning we're not going to tell you all the mini classes that you have to take. It's a little more open. It's a little more fluid. All right, so that way you can kind of design your degree with the economics and a BA, Bachelor of Arts. You can design it to fit your needs. I have a lot of students that are going to law school. They're planning to go to law school. So what they do is they'll do an economics degree and they'll do the BA. And what they do is they don't take as many business courses. They're building in poli-sci, political science classes to kind of fill in the gaps they're going to need to get ready to sit for that LSAT. Does that make sense? So the BA is a little more open. It's less prescriptive. And you have more freedom. You're going to do that when you're really targeting that law degree. Honestly, are most students who use that BA. Almost everybody else is going to go for that BS. And that's, again, what we're typically talking about. The gen ed classes, all the common business core classes that you have to take, and then the majors, which we'll look at together. Does that make sense? So you have two options in economics. Most are going to be the BS, unless you typically want to go to law school. You might be looking at that BA. Does that make sense? Anybody here thinking about law school? Okay, so it's something to think about. And then on Wednesday, so Ramel and Tristan, I've got somebody who want to really talk to you about that coming in on Wednesday. All right, so those are the two options. This is the only major that has a BA option, and that is economics. We've already went over this, so I'm going to kind of skip that. We were talking about the different careers. Again, there's a lot in any field of business, essentially, but banking, financial services, that's a huge one. Investments, that's another big field. Law, let's see, political aspirations, that's a big career field for economics majors. So that's kind of who we're targeting with this background. But again, this is going to be a solid foundation. no matter what area you want to go into business, economics is going to be key. And having some of that knowledge, which is why, how many classes do you guys have to take in economics? 3. Yeah. Everybody in here is going to have 3 economics classes. Let's see, there's microeconomics, macroeconomics, and then an intermediate, which is going to be a 3rd, or money and banking. So we'll look at that in just a minute, but you're all going to have 3 classes. So you're all getting a really solid foundation in this area, in this discipline. All right, so we're now to the slide where we're going to look at the faculty. And this is a smaller discipline. We don't always have like a huge number of students majoring in this for no reason. But we do have some amazing professors. I think, Owen, did you say you're in economics, or you both are? You are. Your name? Jacob. Who are you taking? Dr. Hankins. Anybody here have Dr. Hankins? Y'all have Dr. Alvarez? Carter? Yeah. So I'm old. Unfortunately, I've only had 2 of them, but these are really great professors. And we're gonna break it down. So who are they? Where will you see them? Let's get out of here. Let's go to our JSU website. We're just gonna go to jsu.edu. We're gonna go to that little search bar. And I'm gonna go over this again each time we go over a new major so that you have the drill down. Go to the button called College of Business and Industry. We're gonna come over here to the departments. Being that we're looking at economics, we're going to select finance, economics, and accounting. And then we're going to go simply down to faculty and staff. All right, so we looked at finance last week. Let's progress on to economics. So we have 4 economics professors. One of our newest hires, he's been here about 2 years and is really making way with our students, and they're enjoying it, is Dr. Sean Patrick Alvarez. Anybody in here have him? Addison Clare. Addison Clare, how's it going? It's good. You have him in person? He's so funny. And a lot of these, I probably shouldn't say this, so what happens in here stays in here. A lot of these professors, they're so funny and they don't even realize how funny they are to me. Like I'm laughing throughout the class, and I probably shouldn't be, but I think they're really hilarious. He's really memorable. He does some really cool examples dealing with like cocaine and and the import, and he makes real life relatable to economics. So it's memorable, it's fun, it helps you learn. We've gotten a lot of great reviews on him, but he is one of your professors that you're probably going to have for either microeconomics or macroeconomics. You may also see him in the intermediate level, so that 3rd tier option. Then you have Dr. Sean Carter. Anybody have him? Okay. And you'll have him, again, micro, macro, one of the intermediates. If you're an economics major, you're definitely going to have him again. I'm biased. He's who I grew up with 20 years ago. And he's the one where I tell my students, I never felt smarter than when I was in his class. It was not easy. I won't say that it was easy. But he would walk into class and he would bring a paper, the Wall Street Journal. He'd walk in with the paper and then just randomly open it up, look at a random article that's going on in the world and relate it back to me in Jacksonville, Alabama. And the way he could make me think about things that I had just kind of written off or never even took the time to question, how is this one change in Medicare going to affect me here at 18 years old? And it's amazing. So he's going to come on Wednesday and he's going to bring a little bit of life to economics. He's so passionate about it. And he's got one of the most amazing degrees from Texas A&M. He's been there, he's done that. He's amazing. You're going to love him. He'll be here Wednesday to talk to you more about what economics is, why you should think about it for a career, or as a basis for your future career. So he'll be here Wednesday. Dr. Dean, retired Dean Bill Fielding, or William Fielding. He's our dean that was here for almost 50 years. He retired, bless him. He's the best. He retired a couple years ago, and he is so active in life and in his intellectual stimulation. Like he can't retire. He can't stop teaching. So he's still here. And he teaches some of our economics majors. So if you're not an economics major, you won't have the blessing of being under Dr. Fielding, who's just honestly a treasure. But he's wonderful. If you have economics as your major, you'll have him for maybe an independent research class or one of your higher level economics courses. But again, that's only for those majors. Then we also have Dr. Billy Hankins or William Hankins. He is one of our other prominent professors of economics. Again, same spiel. You're going to see him from micro, macro, intermediate, money and banking. He teaches all those as well. So you've got a lot of options. For me, I know I'm biased. I know you're sick of hearing this, but it really is a win-win situation. So whichever option works best with, yeah, it's a win-win. You're awake? Okay, good. I knew you were having a rough morning. All right. But whatever works best for your schedule, you're in good hands. You've got good options there. All right, so we'll go back over here to our PowerPoint. Those are some of our professors. Again, where are their offices located? They're on the second floor. All business faculty are on the second floor in the wing closest to the parking lot. All right, so these next two slides we're going to go over very quickly. It's just showing you this is not, again, this isn't the law, this isn't the Bible. These are just illustrations on how to show you how to incorporate some of your core along with some of your major courses. And this is just a sample for your junior and senior year. It's just showing you how you can interweave those. Your advisor in our advising suite will help you do that. So let's just keep going quickly. Here's what matters. Okay, this is for the majors, the students that were thinking about majoring in economics. You've got the gen ed, all the Englishes and the sciences and all that fun stuff we've talked about. You've got the core where you're getting all the basics of finance, economics, accounting, marketing, and management. And then you're going to have your major. For an econ major, you're going to have 21 hours. You have to take 21 hours to complete your major. This is going to compromise right here. You can see these are the required courses. And there's some good news here. All right, this is a really good thing I'm going to talk to you about. For that third econ, you have to either take intermediate macro, intermediate micro, or money and banking. Those are up there. EC 321, EC 322. You're going to have one of those already out there. And then you've got some other econ courses that we're going to look at, but it's 21 hours. It's not a lot. And look how many electives you have. You have 3 electives, so you can really customize this to fit your needs. What do you do with these electives? You want to pick classes that are going to help you get to your end goal, whatever that may be. If it's maybe going to law school and you decide to do this, the CS option, you might want to fill it with some poli-sci classes if you can. And there's a whole list of electives that you can use. Maybe you want to look more into investments or money and banking. You can go that way too. So it's really about figuring out what your goal is and then finding what electives will help you get to that end goal. And this is, again, we call it more open, less prescriptive. We're not telling you every little thing you have to take. Where are my accountants? My accounting majors? Yeah, you guys don't have many electives. You don't have much freedom. You've got to take this, this, and this, and this, because we got to get you ready for that job, that CPA. It's more prescriptive. Economics is going to be more open. So you've got some more leeway to kind of figure out how you want to really balance out that degree and how you want to make it work for you in the future. All right, so that's really cool. Now, you may not be thinking, I want to major in economics. That's okay. I want everybody to look up. Here's something important. The next slide. Let's talk about a minor in economics. Remember, we talked about a major is about 21 to 24 hours. That's the big one we just looked at right here. This example in economics is 21 hours. Most of them are 21 to 24. A minor is how many? I'm going to do this. How many hours does a minor require? 18. Good job. I would not have remembered that for you. 18. All right. And a concentration is the smallest option where you can specialize, and that was 9 hours. Let's look at this minor for economics. And there's a reason why I want you all to look. Okay, it's going to be 18 hours. That's a lot to get a minor. You know it is. But let's look at what you're taking or what it requires. It requires principles of micro. Have you already done that as a business major? Yes. It requires principles of macro. Have y'all already done that? Yes, as a business major, you will. And then it requires another one of these 3, which you're going to have to pick one of these already. So let's just pretend you did money banking. That's going to only leave you with 1, 2, 3 classes. You can take 3 additional classes and have an econ minor. This is one of the things I'm going to teach in this class. Like, I'm going to teach you my regrets. Don't make my mistakes. I didn't do it. It would have been so easy for me to come out of college with no additional money, no additional time, with a minor, especially in economics. All right. It would have been so easy for me. Not that the classes are easy. I'm not saying that the courses are easy. But if I would have worked hard and worked smart, I would have come out of college with 2 things on my degree, a major and a minor. And again, why is that important? Why do I want to have these minors or concentrations?
I think there's more money.
It's a competitive, gives me that competitive advantage of all those other graduates seeking all those other entry-level jobs. I've gone above and beyond. I've shown an employer I can separate myself. I'm willing to take on more. I can capable of more. Hire me. That's essentially what it's showing. And again, no time or money wasted. So this is one of my big sells. Like if you're capable, if you feel up to it, an econ minor is so easy. Again, not the courses, but in theory, so easy to add on to your existing academic plan. 3 courses and you got an econ minor, which is going to look great. It's going to look great on resumes. It's going to look great on job interviews. When you're networking, it's a conversation starter. It's going to give you, it's going to change the way you think. Again, it helps you think more critically. And again, you focus on those unintended consequences, which has you looking in all kinds of ways. It helps you learn how to think outside the box. And that's what employers want. When Lane Foster was here, how did she get ahead? She kept trying to solve problems, right? If you're a problem solver, and this is kind of a soapbox moment, but bear with me. If you're a problem solver, you're gonna go far. People need problem solvers. It doesn't matter that your major was in finance or economics. You now have this way of thinking that can help the business. And that's how at 27 years old, she's a director of operations of a mega, entity. It's amazing. So again, economics is so valuable. And this is the minor, and you can do it in 3 classes, 3 additional classes. So I think that's pretty cool. All right. Any questions on that? All right. Y'all are quiet today. It's Monday. All right. So this next section that we're going to go through is, again, same thing that we did in finance. This is going to list all of the econ courses. If it's highlighted in yellow, it means that it is either a requirement as a business student or a major in economics. In this case, you guys are both going to have macro of economics and principles of macroeconomics and principles of macro. Everybody's going to have those. Y'all even know Zoolander anymore? Y'all haven't seen, y'all know Blue Steel? Thank you. Just making sure y'all are awake. All right, let's keep going. We've got additional courses. Again, if they're not highlighted, these are either electives or just kind of letting you know about them. Then we have money and banking. That's one of the 3 options for your 3rd econ requirement. And we have these 2, intermediate micro and intermediate macro. That's for that 3rd econ requirement that you have to pick from. What's my advice on that? How to pick which one? Who did you enjoy most? Do you have a professor that you enjoyed most? Do you have one of the topics that you enjoyed the most? Maybe you liked micro better than macro or macro better than micro, or maybe you're thinking, I want to go into banking. It's simple. You're just going to be using that type of judgment. Or if it works better for your schedule and you're really good at both, go for it. Do what's best for your needs. But that's kind of how I would approach it. Unofficially, I'm not an advisor, but that's what I would do. Again, there are many courses in here that aren't highlighted. But again, those are just electives that we have available. Seminar, we talked about the seminar course in finance. Every major is going to have a seminar that you have to take as part of your major requirement. This is essentially just a recap of all of your economics that you've learned. So every major is going to have that requirement. All right, let's keep going. That was a fun one. Economics 45. That was a fun one. I did that one. We went to New York City for a week. It was a blast. I mean, I wrote like one report. It was awesome. We went, what did we do? New York Stock Exchange on the floor, seeing the crazy, trading. Federal Reserve with all the gold, Broadway plays, meeting with the producers behind it, the economics behind the plays. It was pretty awesome. I don't know when we're gonna have our next one, but I need to get on that personally. That was a great. I highly recommend that. Even if you're not an econ major, you can take that as an elective, and it counts. So that's pretty cool. But there are a lot of cool classes in here as economics. Here's another thing to think about. The salary is usually good in econ. All right. Actuary, economists, consultants, analysts, environmental economists. What's an environmental economist? Anybody have an idea what they might help with? Just curious. Anybody? Yeah, that some disasters, tornadoes, hurricanes, oil spills. I mean, think about the BP and disaster that happened. Yeah, just there's so much that you can do with this econ degree, not limited to some of these options. Again, analytics is big, financial securities and banking. Analysts of all types are in here. Again, that's where that analytics comes into play. Statisticians, politics, law, teaching is a huge option too with its background. So there's just a lot of things that you can do with an econ degree. And there are a couple more slides here. Just you can click on those. We're not going to go through that on our own time. And I put this in there last semester. I kind of covered it in finance too, only because it doesn't truly have a home yet. The poor data analytics people, they're kind of just housed in the middle. So again, we have that minor in data analytics. So I talked about it in finance. I'm going to talk about it again. It is now established. It said coming soon, but it has been established as of fall 2025. So you can obtain a minor in data analytics or business data analytics. And that's that skill. A minor is how many hours? 18. I think in reality, it's going to be about I have to go back and check. I'm gonna check. Maybe like 3 more classes than you already have. And that is a big ticket tool for your resume. All right. If you have the ability to be able to gather data from big data, right? Interpret it, use it to make a meaningful analysis, and then be able to interpret it in tables, graphs, charts for those decision makers, you've got a job. All right, so that's why I keep bringing that up, is because it's so important. You're going to be exposed to that in your ST 345 class. That's a class everybody here has to take. But if you are inclined to enjoy it, think about that minor. Again, something easy to do, add on to your degree, work smart. All right, you can work with very little additional costs, if any, and time added on to your stay at Jacksonville State. So things to think about. And I've got bad news. I knew we were going to finish early on this one. So we're done for the day. You're welcome. I know, DeMarcus. I know. That was a quick one. I know, I got you. I didn't say for it. But what are we going to do? If you have a problem accessing your finances or trying to get on and off, I'm taking out to help you. If not, on Wednesday, what are we going to do? We're going to be right back in the middle. We're going to be right back in the middle and do good students. All right. Have a great day. Enjoy the break.
Are you still in the seat again?
Hey, I don't know yet. 1 second. I'm gonna turn off this recording.